Thank the gentlelady, and now it's my honor to recognize the gentlelady who is the chair of the full committee, Chair Rodgers, for 5 minutes for our opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Granholm, welcome. Foundational to our lives and our future is access to affordable, reliable, and clean energy. On energy and commerce, we've worked since the start of this Congress to achieve that promise, most recently by passing H.R. 1, the Lower Energy Cost Act. Today, I'm deeply troubled that the Department of Energy, under your leadership, has put America on a dangerous path that harms our energy security and benefits our adversaries, mainly China. Since day one, Department of Energy has enabled the president to shut down American energy. Rather than sounding the alarm about America's declining energy security, the administration canceled the Keystone Pipeline, begged OPEC, Russia, and Venezuela to produce more oil and gas, supported the completion of Russia's Nord Stream pipeline, and turned to China for solar panels and batteries made with slave labor and dirty manufacturing. As a result, America's energy prices are higher than ever, and we are less energy secure. Gas and electricity prices remain too high. Our electric grid is becoming unstable, and this is driving inflation and hurting Americans and businesses. Because of this, families every day have to make tough choices about whether to put gas in the car or food on the table. Earlier this year, we heard from a local Virginia farmer, David Hickman, a fifth-generation farm owner, whose livelihood has been made worse by these policies. And he told us, and I quote, "This is the most perilous time for American agriculture." In some places like California, the government is even asking people to ration energy. This should be a warning to the Biden administration. One of the first orders of business this Congress was the passage of bipartisan bills to stop President Biden and Department of Energy from mismanaging the Strategic Petroleum Reserve and sending our emergency stockpile to China. Now, our SPR is at the lowest level in 40 years. I'm equally concerned that this administration is making us more dependent upon China. America has the highest labor and environmental standards in the world. We value liberty and equality. Madam Secretary, you support waivers for solar panels sourced from China? Even when China violates our trade laws, uses slave labor, and pollutes more than any other nation. Department of Energy is spending hundreds of billions of dollars of taxpayer dollars to force an energy transition on Americans with a false promise of 100% wind, solar, and battery-powered energy, the supply chains for which are basically controlled by adversarial China. And at the same time, the administration is threatening to ban natural gas stoves and other home appliances that Americans rely on. We've seen the future that these proposed policies and government mandates lead to. I recently visited Europe with other Energy and Commerce Committee members, and it was clear that Europe's rush to green destroyed their energy and manufacturing industries and increased their reliance on adversaries like Russia and China. And now Europe is in an energy crisis following Russia's war with Ukraine. We cannot let Europe's mistakes become America's future. DOE must return to its core mission, its mission to protect America's energy security and our way of life. Which brings us to the budget request for fiscal year 2024. Last year, DOE received a 200% boost in funding, nearly $100 billion, and up to $350 billion in new loan authorities. And that's an additional to its regular appropriations of $46 billion. This year, the request is to increase the budget to $52 billion. Our constitutional responsibility is to ensure that the Department of Energy carries out its mission. And the mission is for two of our nation's most critical missions. That's maintaining our nuclear weapons and ensuring America's energy security. Rather than being focused on this core mission, we see the department prioritizing the implementation of a rush to green agenda and rushing to spend money without taking the steps to prevent waste, fraud, and abuse. The actions taken by Department of Energy and the alarming comments that you've made, Madam Secretary, about commending China and suggesting that the U.S. follow the Chinese Communist Party's lead have failed to reassure me that DOE's priorities are aligned with the needs of Americans or the national and energy security interests of the United States. We must abandon this dangerous and radical agenda so that people, Americans, have the opportunity for a better life and a secure future. Thank you. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. I'll now recognize the ranking member of the